Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I'm not sure when you're watching this video, but I'm just happy you're here. Welcome, my name is Mr. Nichols, and this is your student's AP Computer Science Principles class for this year. This video is going to show you quite a bit around our Schoology page, and most importantly, what to expect on our Code HS website, where you'll find a large majority of your students' curriculum this year. We're going to go ahead and get started on Schoology. Let's go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Schoology page for our Computer Science Principles. Not much on here, again, rolling with the keeping it simple kind of theme this year. Most of what students need to know from this Schoology page and what you guys want to know is under the weekly agendas. So each week I break down the assignments that students will run into, and each of these weeks looks identical. They all have an overview, they all have a calendar, and what we call an option board. I will start with the overview. This is, again, a one-stop shop for students for the entire week's homework. At the very top, I have the students' weekly goals. These are curriculum-related goals and some various CS topics that you guys are going to learn. In the middle, these are the mandatory assignments that they have to have 100% completed in order to get full credit for them. Typically, these are going to be due at midnight every single Monday. For instance, on, I believe, September 7th, that is the Monday at 11:59 p.m., all of those assignments will be due. Late credit will be assigned afterwards if necessary. The last thing is new this year. It's called the option board. It does not mean that it is optional. It is mandatory, but instead that you have 3 options of prompts to address. So this is where, since students are now away for several times, or for the whole entire time, I want to kind of get to know them a little bit better with one-on-one interactions. And Flipgrid is a very nice way for students to upload a video of them describing something so I can see how well they have learned it. So every week they'll have options between 3 things. Typically, the last one will always be some sort of a coding exercise if someone is not comfortable speaking in front of a camera. But other than that, this overview's got most of what you'll need. Everything else in here is just kind of additional resources. Here you'll see the calendar in case you miss a school day. You can see what lessons we have gone home with. And then also for the option board, this is where students can click the links to go directly to the Flipgrid website and upload their little videos for me. Or there's an assignment. If they choose the coding, they just have to take a screen snip of their code and submit it to me there. So it's a very nice place to come to, but again, most of our assignments are going to be on Code HS, which let's take a look at now, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our Code HS classroom. This is where all the curriculum is going to happen for this school year. Again, our note for the students is we're trying to keep it simple, so it's a hopefully one-stop shop for every student to come to. Wanted to show you some of the major features that a student's going to need to know on this particular website. Inside, you can see that we have availability to specific units, and inside each unit, there are a specific number of lessons. Each lesson is broken down to its own individual components. They usually will consist of some sort of a video, some sort of a quiz, a couple examples, and then some exercises that the students need to stop or complete on their own. Here, I will run through what an example program will look like. Let's go ahead and talk about top-down design and decomposition today, just so you can get a view of what your students should be looking at. While they are going through notes, so this is something I typically do in class with the students, is I will go through the notes with them on slides. But one of the benefits of keeping this up top here in the video section is you do have the ability to take notes. So I do suggest that as I'm on Zoom talking through the slides, that students are on their computers taking notes as well. So I'm going to type a couple notes here just so we can see where these show up later. Where do I get to see you? Where do I see this? So we'll let this sit here for a second because we know that taking notes is one thing, but being able to access them is a whole nother thing, especially on a website we don't really know much about. So the one downfall about the videos, if you watch them, is it is not me talking. It is somebody from Code HS narrating. So that's why I like to give my own personal touch to these particular videos while we are in class. But students for homework a lot of times will have a kind of flipped classroom, as we call it, where one of their homework assignments will be to watch a future lesson and complete the future quiz. I will explain a little bit more about this as we kind of get into the overall homework effect that we have here. So after we go through a video lesson, down here at the bottom, you can kind of see that they have these units that are all scrunched up together. And inside here, you can easily get from one to the next. I do suggest students use this blue next button at the top for one specific reason. If you use that next button on the top, it oftentimes will tell you that you have watched, viewed, or submitted what you need to. So it is a very nice feature to have. It is not required, but it is just some students really like to see everything kind of showing up on their screens. After each lesson, you can see there's a brief quiz. Some of these are, I've gotten some questions wrong on purpose just to see what students get, but they're usually pretty short, low stakes, 1 point per question, usually don't have a major effect on their grades. But these are here in place to kind of show me, did you do your homework? Did you go home? Did you watch that lesson? And did you take this very short quiz? That's what we're trying to do in this flipped classroom, so that we have students coming into class ready to learn the stuff that they've already kind of been introduced to. It allows us to get a little bit more time in class to work and ask questions. After the quizzes, you'll typically see 1 to 3, maybe sometimes 4 examples. These examples are pre-written code that the producers of CodeHS have written for us, and they try to just kind of break down the code into a functioning program for us. I always tell my students it's one thing to see this in notes, it is another thing to see it in a working program. So a couple of features that you might see on here, you can always speed up or slow down the pace of which your program runs. You can also go step by step by step if you ever want to reverse things and kind of keep track of where things are happening. So lots of buttons on here that are very useful for us. What I'm going to do really quickly is jump right into one of our examples, or I'm sorry, our exercises. These are the ones with the pencils. My general idea for the class is this. Anything in the bottom here that does not show up as a video, AKA has a camera, or does not show up as a piece of paper, I am going to be collecting for points. So I will be collecting the quizzes that you see. I will be collecting the exercises. And I believe that these guys are a combination of debugging and free response questions. I will be collecting all of these. But let's take a look at one of them just for an example. There's some features on here again that are very prominent for students. Now this is one that I have finished personally myself, but let's say a student doesn't quite know how to solve this problem. How do they ask Mr. Nichols for help? Great question. Over here on the far right tab, you'll see where it says more, there's a conversation piece. Inside this conversation, a student can directly ask me a question. Shows up in a queue of questions. I answer them in the order that I receive them. There are also some other things in here like, hey, let's take a look at our notes while we are kind of working on this. Maybe there's something in the notes that we saw that could help me solve this problem. Or maybe there was something I took notes on that I can help myself with the problem. So this is where we do see the notes that we have saved from this page. All these other tabs at the top are pretty useful. The docs are going to be some really good resources for anything that they're currently using over to the left-hand side. The assignment reminds them of what assignment they have to complete. And then the test cases is actually some test results that every student has to pass 100% of these tests in order to get 100% on their code. So as you can see, there's a lot of really neat features that allow a student to play around, make some mistakes, ask questions, and check their code as well. A few things that you want to make sure that students are doing though is this. When they finish their project, for instance, this one is fully finished. I'm just going to run it in rabbit mode. Yes, you've done it. Nice job. You want to make sure your students are clicking the submit and continue button. What this will do is it will run the test cases one last time and verify that you have passed them all. Let's say for one instance that you for some reason forgot something, but you run to submit it. Oh no, the functionality of this program is not correct. If any of these have red X's, you will not be receiving credit for this problem. You have to make sure that all of them have green check marks. Again, this is where you can use that conversation tab to kind of ask questions and see how to fix the problem. If you continue anyway, which you're allowed to if you are completely stuck, just please be reminded that unfortunately it will show up as yellow down at the bottom. If you decide that you're like, oh my gosh, I had an epiphany, I remembered what was happening, I did have to kind of go back and put one more thing in here, which I believe was place 3 balls. Once you do that and you click your final submit, everything is good to go and you submit this, you will notice that this color is now going to turn a green color Green means good. Green means you are getting 100% of the credit. Yellow means you're getting 0% of that credit. So if a student's grade book is not up to their liking, I will typically have them come back, check that all of their little boxes are green for them. Other than that, this is a really nice kind of feature where in one place you can code, you can see the results, and you can go back and see your notes all in one spot. A one-stop shop for everybody.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for stopping by my class today. If you ever need to contact me, my email is, watch this magic, go. So go ahead and email me at any point in time. Don't forget, students can also sign up for AM or PM tutoring via Schoology. Your students know how to do that. I've shown them in class. So go ahead, sign up. Let me know if you guys need anything. Contact me with any questions. But ladies and gentlemen, have yourselves a wonderful day.